Okay, the captions are now showing on the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Because we're, yes, great. All right. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Sonia Yaco. I'm presenting with my colleague and co-author, Bala Desingu. This is What Can AI Do for Special Collections? And the short answer is it can improve access and enhance discovery. Now, this session, we're going to answer that question much more fully, presenting the results of a year-long study at Rutgers. I have started the recording. We have a golden opportunity. We're at a junction where we have rich collections, as always, special collections in libraries, an ever-expanding set of AI tools, and a desire to get more out of our collections. We can do that by applying AI to collections in meaningful ways to mine this wealth. For our study, we use the William Elliott Griffiths papers at Rutgers. It's about the Griffiths family, who were educators and missionaries in East Asia during the Magi period, 1868 to 1912. It's a huge collection, contains, got a list here, but manuscripts, photographs, and published materials. It's heavily used by scholars in Asia, the UK, and US. For this, we focused on specifically on Margaret Clark Griffiths, the sister of the donor, who was one of the first Western women to educate Japanese women. We picked collections that were, we picked formats rather, that were very rich, but were hard to access. About 75% of this collection has been digitized. So we've got the diary, which is her diary, a biography, which is his biography of his sister, and photographs. Our strategies for mining this wealth were to extract text, make it more readable, finding insights in the now digitized text and the photographs, and connecting text to those images. Bala?
So yeah, I will be talking about the software tools that we used in our project, like Sonia mentioned. So we had like text, images, and we have to combine, analyze both of them. So the tools we used, they can be categorized like generative AI for text, image, and natural language processing tools, and optical character recognition tools, and a few others to get insight into the text and images. So, so we have explored nearly 26 software tools, and here we are like showing like what's the cost and learning curve associated with each tool. So on the top, what we have is so really no cost at all for this kind of tools, and learning curve is very fast. So it's actually 0, but we give some arbitrarily 1. So all of them are relative and depends on the function. For example, if I take ChatGPT, right? So it's the 3.5, not the 4.0. It's open for public. You just have to sign in. It's free and nothing much to learn. You can start using immediately. And when you go to ChatGPT 4.0 and the API interface, so it provides a lot of interfaces like Wolfram Alpha and other tools. And it requires, you have to pay, you have to subscribe, and there is kind of, learning curve is involved, but not too much. And so it is, so the green is the cost and the blue is the learning curve. Same with the DALL-E API. So you need to learn how to use the API. And then you have to also pay for subscription. So all these tools, like the 26 tools we explored, we can use them in a variety of ways. And so here, what we want to show how these tools can be used for at least 3 types of projects or demos. The one is improving the readability. So what we have is like the text, handwritten text. So it's hard to read. And if we want to gain insight, computational insight, like knowledge graph or anything, we had to convert that text into an ASCII character or simple text. And again, if we want to make connection between the text and images, we have to go beyond the existing tools. We have to combine the tools. So let me explain one particular case here, improving the readability. So the kind of data or the documents we have, one is handwritten material, and the other is typewritten documents. Typewritten documents are okay, but the most challenging ones are the handwritten material. People have been working in this area for a long time and developing the optical character recognition software and methods. So on the top left, you see here, that's the handwritten material. It's very hard to read because it's an old English, right? And I was telling, like, to my friend, and they said the young generations are not able to read cursive writings. So whether the existing historical document or our own diary, we have to apply the tools, the optical character recognition tools, to convert them into text. So this is a ground truth for reference. And we use like tools like eScriptorium and AM Digital, it's a commercial package, and ChatGPT 4. So I'm highlighting one particular passage. So eScriptorium, so the word boo is not recognizable, and it's actually boos, and it could not able to complete that. It's a mistake, but it's okay. But ChatGPT, it goes to an extreme. It tries to fill the gap, and it doesn't know what it is, and it starts doing the hallucination problem, right? So it generates a lot of sentence just to substitute that. It imagines. The AM Digital, it substitutes some words. It's not exact. So with the tools like eScriptorium, it's good. ChatGPT, it can generate a lot of text, right? So here is the accuracy metric, what we have here. So in a sense, we have the ground truth for some reference documentation. If we compare these tools, like Google Lens, out of box, it gives like 70% accuracy. And best of the trade is eScriptorium. ChatGPT 4, it gives like 74 because of the hallucination problem. If there are like incomplete words that it could not recognize, it will generate a lot of text. That's one challenge with ChatGPT. Now, if we combine ChatGPT with any of these tools, the accuracy improved a lot. So other tools cannot substitute what's the right word, but ChatGPT is very efficient in that it can generate the text, right? So if we combine, the best one is the eScriptorium. The original accuracy is 89%, and when we combine it with the ChatGPT, it goes to close to 96%. So the way we do that is you take the handwritten text, feed into eScriptorium, and this is free, and then you get like 89%. It's an okay text, and then feed into ChatGPT. And now, instead of filling the invisible gaps, it is working on a better text, and it produces even a better text, clear text. Again, you fine-tune the eScriptorium to improve the accuracy. So this, we found that combining the tools, the free and commercial ones, helps a lot. The next one is the typewritten materials. It's very hard to read on the screen, but the existing software packages do a great job. For example, Adobe Acrobat, it can take the type written material and generate the text with very good accuracy. So are the other methods. So Sonia.
So the second strategy or use case is finding insights with AI once we've got that extracted text to make the text more usable to scholars. We're going to do that with translation, text analysis, visualization, and photographic grouping. Programmatically translating digital text into native language of scholars can really help them understand the material better. We have scholars from all over the world who use our Griffiths collection. They have phenomenal language skills, but it's certainly much easier if it's in their native language. The software to use that, Google Translate, which I'm sure many of you use on your laptop or on your cell phones, is a good product. The learning curve is low, there's no cost, but you have to cut and paste. You can't do huge volume. Google Trans, which is an API that you use with Jupyter Notebook with Python, the learning curve is higher and the reliability is atrocious. It breaks what works one day, causes errors the next day. It randomly freaks out. It has limits on how much it can use. Google Cloud Translation API, which is an official Google-related product, which there is a cost for. We say here the reliability is good. Really, the reliability is very good. Another thing you can do to make insights is text analysis, and it's much faster with AI tools than manually. For instance, a common thing that scholars have been doing for a long time is named entity recognition. It's the bane of many a humanities scholar. It can be done with a lot of different AI tools. Voyant, which is a free open source software that's quite easy to use, did this visualization of named entities I combined the biography and the diary together, and that's what it came up with. You can also add insights to photographs. Using Python, I programmed it to group photographs based on content. I didn't tell it look for groups of people. I just said, show me photographs that look the same. So here's one grouping, and you can see that there's a lot of shapes that are similar. In this, it's a little harder. Sure, I can see that the hair is similar, but what this has to do with these, I guess there's sticks here. The amount of photographs we had was limited. It was 427. So if there had been more photographs, I think it would have done a better job of grouping. The third strategy is to connect text and images. And I think this is particularly fascinating. We can start by, AI can do a lot of things with images and linking text to them, beginning just by describing the photographs. In our catalog, in a finding aid rather, this says small Japanese print, and that describes about 20 different ones. You all have collections with photographs that aren't described or minimally described. It's expensive and time-consuming. So here's what ChatGPT did without any prompting. In other words, I simply said, describe this photograph. Thank you, Daniel, for that comment. And here's what it came up with. This photograph is sepia tone vintage image, early form of portrait photography, figured out it was traditional East Asian attire, kimono style robe, possibly silk, a serious expression on their face. And this is just a small segment of a much longer description. It did a great job on this. Will it do a great job every time? Oh, heck no. It will hallucinate. It will make stuff up. But when you have a choice between this description, which humans can then go back and edit, or Japanese photographs, I'd like to start with this. You can also add metadata to photographs, the traditional method we've done for a long time of linking images to textual material. We can add keywords. Again, there was no prompt other than add keywords. Now you'll see over on the right-hand side, the photograph, perhaps you can see it says Korea, and I believe that's Korean text. So it had a heads up, but it figured out what era it's from, correctly identified 20th century Korea, Korean heritage, group photograph, cultural text, and so forth. But it can also make mark records, which to me is quite phenomenal. That's a simple text to photo connection. Now let's go that extra few steps. We can weave together a particularly luxurious fabric by pulling the results of these tools together. We'll start with extracting text. What tool we use for mark records? Sorry, I used ChatGPT 4, which is a paid version, and just asked it to provide. And some of the mark records it made were not so exciting, but others, boy, it was a great start. And this one was very good indeed. Okay, after extracting the text, we'll generate photographs, a photograph or an image based on that text, match it to real images, and then compare that back, real images, to the initial text. So let's start. So going back to the first strategy, the first use case, we extracted text from handwriting. And you can actually, it turns out, you can ask ChatGPT 4 to go through text and pull out narrative that describes scenes. So here I pulled out, this one I happened to pull out manually. We walked into a garden and so forth. So the second step is to generate images, an image from that handwritten material. And voila, this is what it came up with. It's great for students who need that illustration. They need some kind of visual connection. And it wasn't until I did this that I realized I never make this. I don't make this in my head. So it was interesting. Oh, well, that's what it could look like. The flaw, of course, is that it's made up. It uses the ImageNet database. So it goes out and it looks for, oh, Yokohama is mentioned, Yudo's mentioned, flock birds. It pulls these things out. So it may be good, but it's nonsense, perhaps. Oh, and by the way, the first thing I did was I sent it through it and I told it I wanted a 20th century image. And then I looked at the date of this and said, no, I want 19th century photograph. And it came up with a whole different one. What question do you ask to get mark for already printed photographs? All I did was give it a photograph and say, make mark record for this. Okay, so we've got this. Step 2 is we've made this pretty thing that is admittedly fictional. So the next step is to programmatically find images in the Griffith collection that look like that generated image. So I'll give you a moment to look at it. The last step is to go back and compare images to the initial text. Does it make sense? Would any of these images describe this text that, remember, we had no illustration for? Would this text describe any of these photographs, which, remember, we have no description for, virtually no description for? This is where human intervention is really involved. Now, to my eyes, the second image, top right, is the best match. The others are interesting, and you can see there are bits and pieces that make sense, that match back to the original. Yes, there's water here. There are birds in what appear to be birds in this, a couple of them. But the one on the top left certainly does not have any bays. It has mountains. So you'd have to use your judgment. But it's a pretty good game to get started. In the study that we've done, here's the limitations and the takeaways. Infrastructure is needed. AI requires a big investment in resources, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's software costs, whether it's staff time. And I should say that I'm an archivist. I've been an archivist for 20 years, but I've been a programmer and a software developer for 30 years. Without that background, it would have been dang tricky to do this work. And if it were not for my colleague Bala and his colleagues in Office of Advanced Research Computing, who are the supercomputing people on campus, I would have been up a tree without a hoop. There are a lot of things that we needed them for, from basic, what the heck am I doing? What's going on here? Days, to simply, for eScriptorium, which is a great transcriber, we needed a Linux machine. We needed their assistance in supervising a graduate student who got us started with some of the transcription. The free software, that sort of hides the fact that there's huge staff time involved. And the apps really have serious learning curves. The takeaways, I think, also are that AI requires human intervention. There are not robots that quickly and painlessly do this or automatically do this work for us. And we found that AI is most effective when the tools are combined, whether it's pairing the transcription software with each other, or the last exercise we did of matching the transcription with the text generation, with the metadata creation, all of that together. That's what's really works the best. What can you do with AI at your library? Which techniques could you apply to your work? Well, we suggest starting with the easy-to-use software, like extracting text by transcribing or translating, and incorporating AI into your workflow. Adobe Acrobat OCR's tool is quick and easy. It doesn't require any extra software. Well, I guess you have to have Adobe Pro, but it will take care of it. If you combine that, and Google Translate is on your phone, that's free. If you combine those two with ChatGPT to clean up typos, that makes a massive difference. Showing your foreign language patrons who have foreign language as their first language, showing them quickly how to use some of your text in that could be a big help. If you're looking to gain insights on your collections, you can test out Voyant, which has, it's, as I say, it's free, it's open source, and it's a wonderful thing. You can feed in your text, either cut and paste or feed in whole files, and it will give you a plethora of choices. It'll give you It'll pull out named entity recognition, it'll do topics, it will do visualization. It does a very fun one where it will go through your document, pull out all the geographic areas and make an interactive map. And it gives you an idea of what kinds of tools you could use and what would be useful. To link the text to photographs, you could experiment with metadata creation using generative AI. Seeking grant funding if you wanted to organize your photographs. Above all, partner with technical staff from whether it's a supercomputing folks on campus, if you've got a data science librarian in your staff or in a institution you partner with, or if you've got a computer science department, are they looking for a project? And often they are. If you can give them a nice meaty project and turn them on it, you could get some good stuff. I hope this session has provided you with an idea of how you can use AI tools to open your collections more fully. Thank you so much for attending, and we've got plenty of time for questions. Well, we've got 5 more minutes for questions. So what can we help you with? Let's see. Can you?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Bigger.
So Voyant, VOYANT, is the software we were using. The captions may have gotten that messed up. Yeah, thank you very much, Valerie. Let's see, there are other questions. Yes, many of the tools would help make the manuscripts more accessible, absolutely. And you can, it wasn't part of this collection to have video material, but since then, I've been working with various video transcription software. There's a wonderful thing called Whisper, which is free. And that will caption photographs or video for you. Are you batching this or working on one image at a time? That's the catch. At least with the API, you may be able to do more. On the interactive one, you can do 3 or 4 images at a time. But for when you're doing it programmatically, you can do more. And we've got, we need to end this session to let people get to their next one. We'd be happy to answer any questions via email, and I very much appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have to stop sharing and recording.